2021 New South Wales Rally Championship opened as the previous season closed, with the Netier National Capital Rally. It's only been a few months since we visited the nation's capital, and we're back again for the opening round and some big changes. The first change is our three major partners for 2021. The MTA are continuing their involvement, but we welcome Hoosier tyre as the official tyre supplier, and also APX Suspension as the major partner for the East Coast Classic Rally Series. Speaking of the East Coast Classic Rally Series, another change for this year is that there will be two separate series for two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive classics. But the most significant change is that teams running G4 and AP4 category cars are now eligible to score points in the series. That opens up the championship to a new era of technology, with Richie Dalton and Dale Moscott taking full advantage, Dalton acquiring the Australian Rally Championship winning Toyota Yaris from Neil Bates Motorsport.
Yeah, look, it's great. We've been pioneering for the last couple of years with the G4s and AP4s, so finally it's come. Obviously, I'm not in that Fiesta G4, a bit sick after the Bay last year, but hopefully come Bateman's Bay this year we can run the new AP4 Yaris and it'll be good.
Peter Dimmick and Russell Hanna would also take advantage of the new rules. Dimmick took ownership of the second Yaris AP4 that had been used in the ARC. Dimmick is no stranger to the New South Wales Series and has competed in a range of cars.
Been rallying for about 30 years and went four-wheel drive back in the 90s, then went back to a Z, had a bit of a go in a front-wheel drive, and now got one of the best cars in the country. The biggest difference is left-hand drive, obviously. It does everything right. We don't have to play with any setup. And Neil Bates Motorsports basically set the whole car up, so ready to go.
Former Australian champion Nathan Quinn was back with the car that caused him some issues last season.
Yeah, we'll take it for another lash. We haven't had the best run with it, but we're going to do our best to get through. It's Ray's first pace noted rally, so we'll do the best to get him through, and hopefully at the end of the day we're not too ashamed of our result. I sort of referred to Ray. I'm Willy Wonka, and he's got the golden ticket to come to the chocolate factory, so it's going to be interesting. And it's unusual to see someone put an amateur co-driver in. It's normally the other way. You got amateur drivers with professional co-drivers, so I think it'll be a good mix-up, and it's definitely a challenge. And I had to do something because everyone was too worried that I would flog them otherwise.
JJ Hatton was another driver who'd been looking forward to New South Wales allowing G4 cars. He has a Hyundai i20 G4, but wouldn't even make the start after this rollover in testing.
Yep, it all ended at testing, and to be honest, I don't know, this car is going to take a lot to fix, so it's pretty bad. The in-car and stuff, if you look at it on channel, on the video, doesn't look that bad, but when you actually see the car, it's twisted pretty bad.
Stages 1 and 2 were exactly the same as last year's event, and just like last year, Clayton Hoy and Erin Kelly struck early, taking the first stage win in the Lancer Evo 6.
3, 2, 1, go 100, left 5.5 right.
Tony Sullins and Kaylee Newell are the defending champions, but this year they've changed over to a Subaru WRX.
Subaru's out of the shed once again. It's just together. We've had a bit of a stress getting it all finished, but we're here. The four-wheel drive car is probably the car to have down here. I struggled last year in the Citroen on the windy, twisty stuff, so now with the AP4 cars and all the rest of the stuff, I think we'll probably just give it a go with the proper car.
5 opens, short flat right, 5 opens.
They were second quickest over the first stage, but in the second hit a hidden rock less than a kilometre into the stage.
Short flat right, 5.5, 30.
With a flat tyre for most of the stage, they were 16th and dropped to 12th outright. They made up some time over the next few stages in the Cohen Forests, but hit some wildlife in stage 4 and were forced to retire. Chris and Katie Giddens finished 2020 on a high, third outright in the New South Wales Championship. They were back again and putting in some consistent times throughout the day. Their steady approach would see them with a top 10 finish in Heat 1. Jamie and Brad Luff are newcomers to the state competition, and we saw them for the first time here at the NatCap Rally last November. They were up into 8th outright after stage 3, but then dropped back to 10th before finishing the heat in 9th outright. Young P-plater Taylor Gill had shown some form in his Subaru WRX last season, and that form continued for the morning 2 stages. He was 7th outright by the end of the Wamboyne spectator stage. We spoke to him before the rally about his change in pace note system and also his new co-driver Ben Atkinson.
Yeah, went from 1 to 6 last year to 1 to 10, so basically started with a fresh book for all the stages. So yeah, it was recce was pretty long and tiring. Yeah, Ben seems pretty happy and he's teaching me a lot, so yeah, it's going pretty well.
The pace notes were obviously working in the Bald Hill stage, the last for Heat 1. Gill was 5th quickest on the stage and finished the heat in 8th outright. Andrew Penny and Reece Llewellyn were pleased with their seeding after the last event saw them stuck behind a slower car.
40, right 5.
But their first stage wouldn't go according to plan, with the intercooler spray turning off, affecting performance. Penny told us he'd made some changes leading into this event.
Oh, look, the car's going fantastic. We did the rally sprint a couple of weeks ago, and we did some modifications in the suspension setup and stuff, and what a difference the car made. It was so predictable and pretty fast, so I think we'll be able to keep them all honest up the front, and if they make a mistake, we'll look out.
After the first stage issues, they were quickly back up to speed and moved from 10th outright to 6th. But a brush with a bank and then a small overshoot in the Bald Hill stage saw them drop back a place to finish the heat 7th. Tom Clark was back for 2021 and had both an ARC and New South Wales Championship schedule. The team had made a few improvements to the car, but like last year at this event, the first stage wouldn't be kind to them.
Into 6 right, cut. Oh! 6 right, 50, 7 right.
They hit a massive rock that had been dragged out onto the apex of the corner, and the impact affected both the exhaust and gear selection in the following stages. But they fought back with some impressive driving to claw some time to move from 11th outright to finish the heat in 6th. Mal Keogh had a new co-driver sitting in the passenger seat, Jackie Sharkey taking over from regular co-driver Pip Bennett. As we've come to expect from the Audi Quattro driver, he was fast from the first stage, slotting into 6th outright. A 5th fastest stage time in Tidbinbilla would jump them up to 5th outright, and then consistent top 10 stage times would keep them there till the end of the heat. But the team were busy at the service dealing with an issue.
Car's been good. We've been having gearbox issues most of the day. It won't select 4th properly, and now it's starting to affect other gears as well. So I've sort of gone into survival mode a little bit just to try and get it over the line, and yeah, that's all I can do. So.
Are you having fun though, mate?
Oh, having a heap of fun. Jackie's a new co-driver. She's been thrown in the deep end. She's doing really well. So yeah, no, I'm really, really happy. We'll be right. See what happens.
Chris Higgs and Steve Fisher finished this event 3rd 5 months earlier and were well on their way to a similar result this season. They were 5th outright after the first stage, but the car was looking decisively different.
Yeah, we did a bit of a freshen up over the Christmas period, and one of my good sponsors, a good mate, Rap My Rider, he just comes out with the goods every time. Not a big fan of red, but this time I allowed him to use red, and I'm happy that we've done it this way.
Consistent times in the top 5 throughout the morning stages would see them finish 4th outright for Heat 1. But the battle for the Heat 1 podium was shaping up to be a very tight fight between Dalton and Moscott in the Toyota Yaris, Nathan Quinn and Ray Winwood-Smith in a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 10, and Clayton Hoy and Aaron Kelly in the older Lancer Evolution 6. Hoy and Kelly had won the first stage and then repeated that in stage 2, taking the win and stretching their lead to 24 seconds over Quinn. Quinn would fight back in the next stage in the Cohen Forest, taking 2.4 seconds back from Hoy. Winwood Smith was on his very first pace-noted event, and the changeover from tulip-based roadbooks was obviously a very successful transition.
8 right, gate, 50, 4 left slip.
Dalton and Moscott were also in the fight. They were 13.7 seconds behind Quinn after the first 3 stages, and Dalton was coming to grips with the new Toyota Yaris AP4. They'd then win stage 4 by 8.4 seconds, closing the gap to Quinn. It was now just 5 seconds. But Hoy and Kelly were having some issues. The rear of the car was making some noises and they were struggling to control it. In the 18-kilometre charcoal stage, they could only manage 6th fastest, but were still in the lead. With just 1 stage to go, it was going to be a nail-biter. Quinn pulled out all the stops and over the 10-kilometre Bald Hill stage, took another 12.4 seconds off Hoy's time and won the heat.
Left right wing, bottom 4 right wing.
Incredibly, Dalton and Moscott were just 0.1 of a second slower than Quinn. Dalton now relishing the capabilities of the AP4 Yaris. Whilst they were also quicker than Hoy, it wasn't enough to take second place. There was just 0.9 of a second difference, and Dalton had to settle for 3rd in the heat. Hoy and Kelly were happy with their result, but there was plenty of work going on under the car.
Yeah, no, we've got the rear arms, all the bushes are gone on the left side, so the rear's been wandering around, and yeah, it's been like a forklift down the road, and the power steering's been going, so me thumb's actually killing being hanging onto the wheel, and it's still leaking now, so we've got a bottle to keep topping it up, but the leak's quite bad, and I don't think that we'll be able to make it through, but we'll try, see what happens.
For Dalton, it was a great start to the New South Wales season.
The car's going good. We're it's still our first day out in a brand new car for us, so we're slowly learning it, and obviously don't want to take any big risks or chances. We want to be here tomorrow afternoon and be close to the podium, so it's the plan that we're sticking to. We're not changing our mindsets. We want to, the leaderboard changed so quickly there this morning after a couple of stages, so I think we're like 5 seconds off a podium position in the ARC as well, so we'll just stick to our plan and slowly build up our pace. So the car's working perfectly fine. It's just giving yourselves time to learn it, that's all.
Even though they'd won the heat, Quinn was busy working on the car.
Changing diff, not quite happy with the way it's holding the road. It's a bit light in the rear end, so he's just decided that we've got time. They extended the service, so we'll put the new one in it and see if it makes any difference for the second pass. Despite
the issues with the diff, it was a perfect start for Quinn, winning 2 of the 5 stages for Heat 1.
Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah, we're cruising along. I think the most important thing is Ray. He's now got 5 pace note stages under his belt, and to be fair, he's doing really well. So I was a real prick to him leading up to the rally, and he's paid attention. He's handling the pressure, so hopefully we can stay like that. We would like to have spent a bit more time this service break looking into the stages and just trying to improve his technique, but I just prefer to get dirty.
Let's now head over to the leaderboard and check out the results. Join us in part 2 of our review, where we wrap up Heat 2 of the New South Wales Rally Championship and take a look at the East Coast Classic Rally Series.